By show of hands, how many of you here are CIMA members? Excellent, that's great. I'm really thrilled to have so many of you here. As Bruce had mentioned, I'm the president of Chicago Interactive Marketing Association, and it's not media, it's marketing, okay? So we're spanning the breadth of absolutely every discipline in the field, and we are continuing an onslaught as the months go by. We're adding to our membership rolls with incredible velocity. It was almost beyond belief that just the other day, our membership crew came to us and said at a recent board meeting, guys, we've just surpassed 1,000 members. So I didn't know there was that many people in Chicago that had an interest in interactive marketing, but there definitely are. Just on last week's board meeting, we found out that we were almost at 1,100 members. So you can see what I'm talking about when I refer to velocity. It's really expanding very, very rapidly. So, you know, as Bruce was mentioning, I mean, relative to my background, I feel I bring a very unique perspective to the topics of the day. Having spent time on the client side, on the agency side, and of course on the sell side, it's been a very interesting trip through the world of interactive marketing. So what I'd like to talk to you a little bit about today is not so much spending 18, 20 minutes or so talking about the difference between Point Roll and iBlaster and iWonder and all that kind of thing. You can find that out through your own research on the web. But rather to talk to you from the perspective of an experienced person who's been on the sell side, who's been on the agency side, and help you understand a little bit more about many of the challenges that we face. And Judy Wunderlich was up here a few minutes ago. She issued a call to action. Frankly, I've got a call to action for you all to experience at the same time. And it sounds a little bit like Judy's. And let's all get involved to help Chicago really take its rightful stake in changing and in overcoming many of the challenges that I'm going to address today. Okay, so the title actually of the presentation is a quote by John F. Kennedy, and I believe it may actually be an Irish proverb, but I'm not entirely sure. And that proverb is, "A rising tide lifts all boats." So to the degree that we as interactive marketing professionals can work together to create a rising tide, well, that just means that everybody will at the same time enjoy the fruits of our labors. So let me start by telling you a little bit of what I see and how I define interactive marketing. It's really basically a marketplace right now. I spend my day during my day job at Undertone Networks sitting and talking to media planners and marketers and talking about the marketplace itself. And one of the things I'm continually struck by is the reality that interactive marketing planners, media planners and buyers who work for agencies are frankly handmaidens to the whole marketing process. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, these are folks that aren't brought into the marketing process and strategy development until very late in the process. And I can tell you by experience back in 97, 98, when we were just getting things started at the Interactive Planning and Buying Unit for FCBI, it was like, wow, can you imagine a day where we're all going to sit around the table with the marketing clients that we have, and we're actually going to come up with the strategy together? Well, actually, it's not happening out there, folks, and you'd be really amazed if I were to tell you the precise agencies I'm actually referring to. One of the quips that I really cherish is a trusted friend on the planning side at a major agency downtown said, hey, strategy isn't developed downtown. Basically, strategy, what he was referring to was created off in the hallowed halls of the client somewhere, and they're just kind of dumped off on the interactive marketing planner or interactive media planner's desk. So what we see out there as sales guys, that's right, I'm a rep, I'm a reptile, I'm out there every day trying to slog through the community, trying to distinguish what makes Undertone Networks different from all of the other networks out there. Frankly, folks, at last count, there were 322 32 individual ad networks that exist out there today. I mean, this is absolutely staggering to me to think of all the crazy competition. And that's 322 competitors just in the network landscape. Forget about all the individual sites that you could talk to individually. So when the planner has no ownership of the strategy, it's very easy to abandon the necessary give and take that has to happen in the marketplace. And so it's really kind of frustrating when you're a person like me. You're out there trying to pitch a product and be able to try to make it relevant for your advertising partners when you hear back all the time, well, the strategy has changed. And the question you ask is, well, what did you know about the strategy to begin with? And the answers come back, not really all that much. Okay, so that's the first issue, I think. In the marketplace, a major, major challenge is that interactive media planners, they don't have a seat at the table all the time. So if you're a marketer or if you work with marketers, make sure that you're the person that's reminding to get those people in the room. If you're in media, planning and buying, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's issue number one. Issue number two is interactive. All of the different tactics that roll up under interactive marketing are still required to meet standards of performance that traditional media just doesn't have to meet a lot of times. So there's a conversation going on all the time about return on investment. It's definitely true that you're better off being able to prove return on investment with interactive media, but it seems like, hey guys, that is a lot of the time the only thing that really sticks. And so that it's frustrating when you're out there trying to pitch a product and you find out that no, the money's actually going back to TV or the money's going to radio. There's still those conversations that are going on in the marketplace. And back in 97, 98, when I was on the agency side, again, we used to dream of a day when that wouldn't be really an issue anymore. So that's challenge number two that we've got to overcome, is interactive is still held to a higher standard of ROI or relative to its traditional media counterparts. Issue number three is the fact that data sharing has got to get better. Okay, the marketing clients, a lot of times that I deal with, are constantly telling us we can't share that data because either A, we don't know it, or B, the CEO or the CMO just doesn't really want us to share it in the community. And the fact of the matter is, the reality there is that we on the rep side of the business can't necessarily do our jobs all that well if we're not getting the data from the marketing teams that we need. A lot of the times you get down to right before a campaign goes live and you found out that the correct pixels aren't being implemented correctly on thank you pages and registration pages and the like, and you just rip your hair out going, well, why is it? Well, IT is not able to allocate resources toward us. And you're thinking to yourself, well, these people are spending several $1 million on this buy. How is it that somebody hasn't directed IT to say, go ahead and put this pixel on the page? It's that important. Okay, so issue number three, from a data sharing perspective, absolutely critical to be able to be out on the forefront on beginning marketing campaigns and knowing exactly where pixels need to go and what needs to be achieved. Okay, the fourth issue and fourth challenge is to go back to a little bit what Judy and the panel were talking about, is talent. And I cannot enforce this enough or speak forcefully enough about it, because folks, the people that I'm dealing with right now on the interactive media planning and buying space are definitely talented people in their own right, but they're assuming titles of director and VP and so forth with 3 and 4 years of experience. I mean, they graduated college in 2004, 2005, and here they are already assuming these very lofty positions. Okay, so the talent situation is a challenge for an organization like CIMA to do everything we can, and starting in 2009, we're going to roll out a number of educational initiatives to go straight into high schools and straight into area colleges, certainly within the Big Ten landscape, and try to make sure that those people who have ever had an inkling of interest of going into interactive media or interactive marketing in general have that opportunity to learn what is the industry all about, what are the trends and where is it going, and what are the opportunities that I can get into. okay, because it is, I believe, a crisis reaching pretty epic proportions. At the same time, a lot of these folks that are coming up into the agency ranks spend a year or two and then very quietly will say to me or some members of my sales team, hey, what do you know about getting into sales? I'd like to leave the advertising agency business and get into the media sales side of things. And it is oftentimes kind of tragic when you think about it, because here are people that are supposed to be the next generation of agency leadership, thought leaders, and being able to contribute on a strategic level, and they're already thinking about getting out of their career in general and moving on into sales. Okay, so almost kind of sad, but the expectations of people that are getting into sales right now, and again, it's buying and planning and selling that all creates the interactive market. And a lot of these folks have just graduated in 2004, 2005, and they're already expecting to come over to the sales side and make $100,000 as a base salary, not even including commission, and that's their expectation. So really, I mean, just a very, very crisis stage in terms of how the talent is looking at the opportunities in the marketplace. The fifth issue, I think, is that there's this fascination I see out there right now with the long tail. And quite frankly, from my experience, I've seen some pretty compelling, pretty terrifying things, to be honest with you, about what happens when you throw a brand out there on the long tail. So I can't see the audience very well, but by show of hands, how many of you know the name Tila Tequila? Okay, so for those of you who raised your hands, you know who she is, and for those of you who don't know who she is, she's kind of a self-made star, kind of a big personality on MySpace. And I think at last count, maybe 3, 4, 5 million friends, could be a lot more than that, but the fact of the matter is this person really hadn't done a whole lot other than appearing in plenty of scantily clad layouts and so forth. And one of the things that just blows my mind is the amount of places she appears online that are next to advertising placements of Fortune 500 brands. Just yesterday, one of my sales reps brought me a photo from a website that gets about 300,000 monthly uniques, and it was of Tila Tequila coming out of the shower. And you can sort of let your mind roam there and understand what I'm talking about. But the thing that blew my mind was right next to it was a medium rectangle, which is a 300 by 250 size ad unit for Pepperidge Farm wheat snacks. This is brand suicide. This is brandicide. And whoever is allowing these decisions to happen and take place, I mean, trust me, we are screen capping that stuff all day long and delivering them off to brand managers nationwide. And just in the last week, some of my sales folks have brought me screen caps of Walmart. That was one of my favorites. In addition, there was Sprint and State Farm and so forth. And the impact that this can have for a brand is absolutely massive. And so there's this fascination with the long tail. I say, folks, you definitely make sure you know how to wend your way around the long tail out there, and ask any network that you might ever be doing business with, hey, what kind of content are we ultimately going to be running on? Because it's just too easy to get your trusted brand up against something that is potentially very, very racy. So last issue, I think the industry, and this is something that I think CIMA can participate in the development of, really needs an ethics board. We need a group of individuals who are capable of making some decisions on how the industry works ethically. I've heard way too many stories about how other ad networks are attaching additional pixel tags to advertising that's served in order to drive up click counts. I think everyone knows about click fraud. It's widely reported on in the media, but I think there'll be a whole new wave of additional problems that consistently surface out there that you'll start hearing about. either ad networks that are guilty of it or just simply ways to use the technology for very nefarious purposes. So these are the issues that I see facing the interactive marketing landscape. And so I'll end with an invitation. You find me on LinkedIn, find me on Facebook. Let's get together and talk seriously about how we can leverage our collective brain power to overcome a lot of these issues. Because truly, if we can continue to keep that tide rising, then I think everyone understands that everyone's boats will lift. So thanks very much.